In the world of animation, Illumination is quickly solidifying itself as a top animation studio among Disney, Pixar, and DreamWorks. Their first feature film, Despicable Me, was a smash hit that ran away with the box office and introduced us to the Minions. Love them or hate them, the Minions skyrocketed Illumination into stardom and they started making plenty of films.
No races! I'm not going to get any races.
Films need villains, and sometimes those villains can be extremely powerful, or in some cases, surprisingly weak. But today, we want to find out how they stack up against each other. I'm Caleb with Wicked Binge, and this is Illumination Villains Weak to Powerful. With that out of the way, we can start with the weakest of our characters and move our way down to the most powerful of them all. The weakest villain on the list is Mike from the film Sing. Mike is one of the contestants in Buster Moon's contest, where he is an egotistical mouse who plays music on his saxophone. Mike is the weakest for a laundry list of reasons. Firstly, his best skills aren't really all that much to look at. He is an expert at cheating at cards and can play the saxophone.
Cheated? Oh, I am offended.
His only other major skill was his singing ability, and even that isn't really helpful in a fight. Not to mention his small size, need for special vehicles, and general unlikability. He's definitely bottom of the list. Next up on our list is Aloysius O'Hare from Illumination's version of the Lorax. O'Hare is the owner of the O'Hare Air Company and a greedy one at that. Now, because of his status as a mayor and the owner of a massive company, he has a massive amount of power in this small town. He controls just about everything, including security, and has a massive amount of money at the same time.
The last thing you want around here is trees.
The issue comes from the fact that he is not a physical threat in the slightest and doesn't seem like the smartest guy in the world either, hence why he has to rank here, despite his immense political power. The next villain on our list is Sergey from The Secret Life of Pets 2. Sergey, despite being the main villain of the film, isn't really that prevalent. He's a circus owner who owns the white tiger cub Who and threatens him when he doesn't perform.
If tiger does not do trick, tiger will become rug.
Now, he's a skilled leader and has a pair of highly trained circus wolves to guard him. But beyond that, he doesn't really show many skills. He seems to be of average strength, speed, and endurance, and while he has a few weapons in his repertoire, none of them are really worth mentioning. Sergey is a very average human, and that's what keeps him in this spot, because he lacks any supernatural ability or special technology. Old but not out, up next is Dr. Nefario. Hailing from the Despicable Me franchise, Dr. Nefario is a longtime supervillain who's been working in creating special weaponry for many years. In the first Minions movie, we see that he created the freeze ray in the 60s, and since then, he's worked with Gru on making hundreds of weapons. He has a genius-level intellect and can create just about anything.
These girls are becoming a major distraction.
However, due to his age, he can't be ranked as more powerful because he has severe hearing issues, creating fart guns and boogie robots instead of what is asked. But if Nefario created all of Gru's weapons, he has such a repertoire of items that he can out-invent nearly anyone here, hence his ranking. From The Secret Life of Pets 2, up next on our list is Little Sergey. Little Sergey is Sergey's pet capuchin monkey that accompanies him throughout most of the film. Unlike the other pets, he doesn't speak or emote much beyond regular monkey habits, which, while weird, implies that he's dumber than the other pets. Despite this, he is still acrobatic, athletic, and speedy, much more so than the other pets we see throughout the films. However, despite his acrobatic prowess, he can't really rank anywhere else on this list. The next character on our list is Herb Overkill, hailing from Minions. Herb is a very smart man, an inventor by trade, and the husband of villain Scarlet Overkill. He is the one who invented every one of Scarlet's gadgets, including, assumedly, her rocket dress. He's even shown to be an expert in torture methods and how to extract information, although this doesn't work on the minions.
It was me, her, the whole time.
However, Herb is not a physical threat, at least not by the typical metrics, and his skinny frame makes him a general pushover if it wasn't for his intelligence. Up next on our list is Ozone from The Secret Life of Pets. Ozone is a stray alley cat and Snowball's right-hand man throughout the first film. Ozone, being a cat, has all the traits one would associate with one. He is highly athletic, has a lot of agility and jumping power, sharp claws and teeth, and helps lead the alley cats and the flush pets. His thin frame also makes it hard to catch up to him when he starts running.
I'm a cat. I land on my feet.
The problem arises because he is a cat and therefore is pretty easy to handle due to its small frame and general thinness. If it wasn't for being a cat, he might actually be a much more palpable threat. Coming from the Secret Life of Pets franchise, Snowball ranks next on our list. Snowball is a schemer, a manipulator, and a general nuisance who is the leader of a group of abandoned pets that live in the sewers. He's a born leader, a powerful manipulator, and skilled in martial arts. His sharp but unassuming teeth prove to be a threat, and he can use them to carve things that help him, such as keys.
We gotta join forces, man.
However, there is one major issue, and you can probably see it already, but Snowball is a small bunny rabbit. That's the long and short of it. He is easy to take and move as well as throw around. If it wasn't for his size, he would be much higher, but as it stands, this is where they are. Coming next on our list is Carlos, leader of the Easter Chicks from Hop. Carlos is a chick, a baby chicken, who has been working with the Easter Bunny for quite a while. The thing about Carlos is, he is a very small creature whose strength comes from manipulation and general leadership skills. When you realize he's not that much of a physical threat, you realize he's not much of a threat at all, because his cockiness and general unlikability makes him easy to manipulate himself. That is, until he becomes a giant chick bunny hybrid, in which he becomes intensely strong, highly durable, and much bigger. The size bonus is a definite plus, but this form seems to be only temporary, and as such, we can't say that raises his standing too much. Another Seuss villain, the Grinch from Illumination's version of The Grinch. While he is the main protagonist of the film, he is still a villain, much like the other characters on this list. This version of the Grinch is less maniacal, but still just as evil, albeit less skilled than other versions.
It was me. I stole your Christmas.
The Grinch is intensely smart, as shown in his chess skills. However, his intelligence is only above average and not genius level, and even his scheming and inventive abilities are heavily outclassed on a list like this. He's also shown no fighting skill, and he's also not in peak physical form, which means in most cases, he's outclassed by other people on this list, hence his ranking. Up next on our list is Vector Perkins from the first Despicable Me movie. Vector is the main antagonist from the first Despicable Me film and is the son of the bank owner Mr. Perkins. Vector is sort of a spoiled brat, having access to a lot of money and items thanks to what his father owns.
Those girls sold me cookies.
He's also shown to have high intelligence, a highly strategic mind, and plenty of tactical thinking skills. However, despite his wide array of weaponry like the piranha gun or the squid launcher, he is socially awkward and physically weak for the most part, showing that his biggest strengths are his mind, and that can be easily decimated. Next up on the list is Scarlet Overkill from Minions. Scarlet was one of, if not the strongest and most infamous villain of all time by the point of the first Minions movie. So much so, she's the headliner at the villain convention the movie takes place at. Scarlet has a genius-level intellect, enhanced strength, speed and durability, as well as supreme hand-to-hand fighting skills that are nearly unmatched in the film and on this list.
Anyone to rise up and prove themselves worthy?
This doesn't even touch her abilities when it comes to gunmanship, marksmanship, and gadget usage. She's remarkably smart, even able to become Queen of England. Sure, by the end she is defeated, but she is very nearly unmatched. Although she is defeated by a very young felonious Gru, so we sadly can't rank her any higher. The next villain on our list is Jimmy Crystal from Sing 2. Jimmy is a large anthropomorphic Arctic wolf who runs Crystal Entertainment. Jimmy is a powerful individual due to his authority, his high intelligence, and his wide array of manipulation skills. He's also a physical threat, being immensely strong, surprisingly so, especially when considering the world Sing takes place in. He can psychologically manipulate those around him, is heavily intimidating, and extremely charismatic. It's also assumed he has sharp claws and teeth he could use in a fight, and his brute strength is also much greater than some of the others on the list, hence why he ranks here on our list. Coming up next on our list is Drew Gru from Despicable Me 3. Drew is Gru's twin brother and someone who wants to live out the dream of his family's villainy. Drew seems to be in the same physical state as Gru, meaning he has the same strength, speed, and endurance. But you couple that with his wealth and his heavy usage of different weapons, and it becomes obvious that the twins aren't made the same. However, where Drew stands worse is his lack of personal achievement. We know that Gru has stolen hundreds of things, including the moon, and stopped the likes of El Macho. Drew's only real contribution, as far as we know, is helping stop Balthazar Pratt.
Nobody messes with my brother!
But despite all this, Drew's wealth does make him quite powerful, hence his ranking. If we had seen more of him, he may have ranked higher. Moving on to the Bronze Medal of Power, next up is Felonious Gru, coming from the Despicable Me franchise. Gru is the main protagonist of Despicable Me, but that doesn't mean he's a good guy. He's still a villain by every sense of the metric.
I sit on the toilet with what?
Gru is also not someone to mess with. Being the protagonist, he's beaten more than his fair share of villains, and he has a wide array of abilities and weaponry up his sleeve to accomplish this. He is said to have near genius level intellect, a high amount of strength and agility that is nearly unmatched, and enough weaponry to take out an armory. From his classic freeze ray to his iconic shrink ray and his array of ships and cars, he is able to take out the competition in most cases, and considering his villainous activities started at a young age, he has gained a repertoire of skills. Using his minions, he can break into heavily fortified locations, manages to steal the moon, and defeat some of the most respectable villains of all time like El Macho. Gru is immensely powerful when he's able to work at his full potential. Sadly, he's not always at said full potential. The Silver Medal of Power is up next, which goes to the spoiled child star turned man-child Balthazar Pratt from Despicable Me 3. Pratt was a child star who never grew out of the 80s, becoming a supervillain like he was in his TV show where he stole things using tech based on things from the 80s. Pratt is interesting because he is shown to be highly intelligent, has access to thousands of tools and tech, and is even a master of disguise. His disguises were enough to convince people he was Lucy Wilde, up to the point even her own family was convinced. He's also shown to be a skilled hand-to-hand combatant, extremely agile and speedy, so much so he almost outpaces Gru.
It's called acting, hoser. And clearly I've still got it.
He is immensely powerful when it comes down to it. He even outperforms Gru on this list because Gru can't beat him by himself. Finally, we get to the Gold Medal of Power. We have El Macho from Despicable Me 2. Eduardo Perez, better known as the supervillain El Macho, is one of the most well-known and infamous villains in the world of Despicable Me. Even in his old age, he was proven to still be a threat, even after gaining a substantial amount of weight. In his younger years, he was intensely strong, durable and fast, able to eat glass and drink snake venom. And in his current state, he's still shown to be manipulative, highly intelligent, and quite charismatic.
What do you think?
All of this comes to a head when he drinks down the PX-41 serum, which turns him from a short and stout ex-supervillain to a large purple monstrosity that outshines most of the characters on this list. In this enhanced form, he has almost unmatchable strength, the ability to get hit by heavy-grade weapons and walk it off, and manages to keep his intelligence to some degree. He earns his spot because of PX-41 and definitely deserves it. But before we get out of here, we do have quite a few Sinner medals to hand out. Earning our Darwin medal is Carlos, who thought that chicks would be able to take over Easter if he took out the Easter Bunny, which just wouldn't happen. Taking the Envy medal is also Carlos, for the reasons listed above. He was so envious of the Easter Bunny, he was preparing to kill him. Stealing the Greed medal is Sergey, who cares more about his bottom dollar than anything that happens to his animals. Taking our Lust medal is Mike, because he dropped pretty much everything, including his safety, to be with that mouse girl. The Pride medal also goes to Mike, who is an egomaniac who thinks he's the best of the best beyond belief. Our Wrath medal goes to Ozone, who absolutely despises pets and attacks Max because of that. Finally, our Gluttony medal goes to El Macho. No fat jokes here, but he does expect visitors to finish the entirety of a chip and guac sombrero, so, you know, there's that. But let us know in the comment section if you agree with our ranking, and tell us what we should cover next. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge our Weak to Powerful playlist, where we break down who the most powerful characters are in your favorite cartoons, shows, and movies. But most importantly, stay wicked.